Stop. Welcome to today's edition of Financially Inspired. I am Debbie Majher, your host. I am so glad that you joined us today. This goes along with my summer newsletter, which I realize now is coming, unfortunately, toward the end of your summer vacation for most of you. Unfortunately, my schedule was to get this out in July. And then I had a family reunion. I was gone for 2 weeks, and then I came back and frantically was trying to catch up, and then I started watching my granddaughter for another 2 weeks, and before you know it, here we are in August. But I didn't want to not touch base with you guys, and I didn't want to not include this because, summer isn't the only break we have, right? And this doesn't even apply just to vacations. It came to me because of vacations, but it doesn't have to apply just to vacations. And so what I want to talk today about a little bit is what I'm calling intentional spending. This came to me with the last vacation that I took during the family reunion. And it was a great time to catch up with people that we have not seen in years and years. And it was wonderful. But there was also a time when I was alone with my spouse and we were, hanging out and we had things that we could do and we were kind of free. Just time to enjoy the Ozark Mountains because that's where we are. And I began thinking, well, what can we do in the Ozarks? What can we go do? We're in Eureka Springs. We've been there before. We knew we loved the town. We knew we loved walking around. We knew there were a lot of things to do. But what's one thing that I couldn't do? And of course, what pops up for me but pictures of zip lining, right? I have never zip lined. I've always wanted to zip line, never been able to zip line. Just the opportunity and everything just never all came together for me. And so when I saw this, I said, you know what? It's time. It's time to go ziplining, and I don't want anything to stop me this time. I don't want excuses or someone else saying that they can't do it. I knew I had to do it myself. I knew I was going by myself. So I made a plan for myself. So what I did is, before we went, it was not part of the budget. It was actually money that I set aside before we went, when I first thought about it, that was set aside just for the ziplining. So what I did is it was outside of the budget. Because what we can do, when we have a budget for our vacation, which of course is a wonderful thing, but what happens is if something within that framework is more expensive than we were expecting, what ends up happening? Well, either we blow our budget and we have to cut back on things when we come home, or we cut out something else to make up for it. And I didn't want that to happen because I knew how easy that was to happen because this was something that, was not a high priority for anybody else but me. So to do that, that's why I said I had an extra set. And if I didn't go ziplining, what I would do with that money is I would give it to charity or I would spend it on something else. But I was not going to use that as part of the budget for the trip. Cost does not matter. This was not like some big expensive thing I was trying to do. What matters is the intentionality of it and the taking time to think about it, think about what you really want to do, and then making a plan for it. So that is what the idea behind the whole thing was. So DebbaTeachersRoadmap.com is how you would reach me. I would love to hear about what you are doing. This is not the end of this video though, because I have more to share with you that I learned since then that dovetails perfectly with this intentional spending. And I found it this morning actually. I was looking through my Wall Street Journal app and I was reading an article from today, and below that article, they always give you articles that you could read. And here I came upon this article. And let me grab my paper so I don't mess up this guy's name. I don't want to not cite him correctly. But it's Jeff Galek, and he wrote an article May 22nd of 2024 in the Wall Street Journal called How to Have a Great Vacation, What Science Tells Us. I love articles that say what science tells us, right? Because then you know that you've got some idea and it's going to line up with whatever our brains are doing or whatever our mind's going through, and it's going to be great. All right, so here's the things that he said, and I think it just works perfectly with intentional spending and how we plan things. So the first thing that he said was to do less. And there's 3 ways you can do less. You can do less either quantity, variety, or timing. Now, quantity is with the idea that, let's say you're on a beach vacation. Well, instead of spending the whole day at the beach, you only spend half the day at the beach. So you leave the beach while you're still really enjoying your time out there. That way, the memory that you have of the beach is still bright in your mind, and you remember it, and it's a good memory. Whereas we're all days, what happens is the longer we spend doing something, the less the enjoyment we're getting out of it. So the whole day might be, we won't have such a great memory. So that's the first idea, which I thought was kind of interesting, kind of shrink the time around what you were doing. Or you could do quantity. Now in the beach example, for quantity would be do two things in that same day. So instead you go to the beach in the morning and maybe take a hike later that afternoon. So you've got two things going on that day. And then variety is to do two different kinds of things. Like you can mix up the day with two completely different types of activities. The other thing you could also do is you could take breaks. So while you are, and this works even when we are working, right? Well, why do we take breaks? Why do we have that time between classes and things like that? Is because it helps our mind to refocus and we come back with energy. So we can even use that same philosophy on our vacation, where we do one thing and then we say, okay, we're going to take a break. I'm going to take 20 minutes. I'm going to go read a book. I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to do something just for 20 minutes just to take a break and then come back to it and find ourselves re-energized and rejuvenated to take it, which I think is just such a great idea. The second one is my favorite. And probably because it takes my heart, this whole limiting our choices. We all have so many great places to look for things to do and for places to stay. And what's the first thing we do when we're thinking of a place to go? And I said I did it when we went to Eureka Springs, Arkansas. I Googled the things that I could do in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. That's what I did. And all of the things popped up. This is not the way to do it. This is, according to science, it's actually better, instead of looking at everything and then picking your 5 or 6 things among everything that there is to do, is instead to go through and pick until you see something that fits, is the first thing that hits you as acceptable thing to do. I did do that with how I was picking which group to go with for the zip lining, because there's, if you start to read reviews and you start to look at the things, you start to look at their ratings, it can drive you nuts. And what I did was I said, this is the group that I first found. I don't see anything wrong with it. We're just going to go with this group. The benefit of doing it this way, when you just go with what's acceptable, is you don't have regret. So if it would have gone wrong and it would have been such a great experience for me, I would have said, oh, well, it's gone wrong. It's not that great experience. Maybe I just want to zip line again. No big deal. But if I agonized between the places and then things went wrong, my first thought would be, oh man, I wish I'd gone with this other place, because I'd have regret. And what does that do for your vacation, right? Knocks it down. So it's great to limit our choices. Find the choice that's acceptable. Find the choice that's acceptable. And the third thing is do something uncomfortable. And I will admit, this was the one that I struggled with, and I almost was going to just leave it off and say, hey, these were the two big things I got out of this article. But I've been thinking about it and thinking, it is true. If you do something uncomfortable, like you're in a city visiting, and instead of taking Uber, you decide you're going to take public transportation. Or you leave for example, and these are examples he gave us in the article, you leave your phone in your hotel room and you go out and just try and find yourself, navigate around the city on your own, or navigate around the place on your own. It makes you feel a little uncomfortable, but what it also does then is when you get back, first you could have a sense of accomplishment depending on what it is that you did. Doing something uncomfortable when it's over with always gives a big boost to me and my confidence and my enjoyability and all of those good feelings that we have inside. So it always helps with that. And then it also gives you something to talk about and remember later. And it makes the whole experience a better thing. And that's what we really should be going for in our life, right? We should be going for experiences. Even if it's something that's mundane, how are we going to experience it to make our experience more richer? How is it going to get us toward our future self, who we want to be, and who we are working forward to be and we're looking toward being? Those are themes that are just run through my life all the time, and I really try and reach for is, who do I want to be? How am I going to get there? Does what I'm doing now get me there closer? I enjoy the journey person, as I'm going along. I enjoy the process as well as what the final outcome is. So that's really important to me, is the process of things. And that's why I really liked the whole idea of everything that was in that article, and that was why I wrote the article myself on intentional spending, and why that hit home with me, because it was a process. It was a process of thinking about, what is it that I want to do? Where am I going to put it? When am I going to do it? I have to fit it in, right? I'm going to put it in. I'm going to let everybody know that this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do for myself. And there's no problem in doing something for yourself on vacation or during the week or whatever. So what do you want to do? And because please, I really like these to be interactive. I really love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. Let me know about emailing me. Look on and find out, and tell me at deb@teachersroadmap.com, what do you want to do that's intentional? What is your favorite thing to do? Are you a process person also, a journey person like I am, or do you rather just like to have goals that you just hit them, and you're not happy till you get there? Both ways are fine. Which way are you? I would love to hear from you. And that's why I do these, is to interact with you and to be support for you financially. I know where you're coming from. I was a teacher for 17 years. You guys are busy, busy, busy. I know that. And so I don't like to take up too much of your time. And that's why I keep these videos short. But I do want you to know that I'm here to connect. I'm here to talk to. I am here to answer your questions, whatever they may be. Coming up this fall, we are going to be heading into some pension review type of videos and articles and supplemental savings kinds of, so you are clear about what you need to do from an unbiased source. I do not work for the school district. I am an independent advisor, and I am a fiduciary, which means you're the client. The client comes first. My decisions have to be based on you. They can't be based on what's just going to put more money in my pocket. So I'm on your side working for you. I'd also love to just interact and get to know you better. And so thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that your school year gets off to a smooth start and to a great start. I would love to support you in any way, like I said, that I can. Let me know. Please join me each week and subscribe and read the newsletters. I am amping up to do this every week from now on. So be looking for topics, anything you need me to talk about. Let me know. Here's my contact information. It is deb@teachersroadmap.com. My name is Debbie Majher. The website that I use is teachersroadmap.com. I am, like I said, I'm an independent advisor. I'm a certified retirement counselor, and I am here to work for you and help you to be financially inspired. Until next time, have a great week.